Hi everybody, welcome to our annual Team Clueless special Christmas battle report. You can see by the giant monsters on the table that we are giving Escalation a go this Christmas. So, we'll see when we come to our army list, but Nick is over there, he's bringing his Orks, he has a giant Stomper. Sai down here is bringing his Chaos Space Marines, and he has a giant Khorne Lord of Skulls. And I am bringing the Chaos Demons, and I have Angrath the Unbound, a Greater Bloodthirster. We're playing 2,000 points each, and we're playing a variation of our usual three-way rules. So if I just go through the rules we're using for the mission, it may take a little bit of time because the mission's semi-complicated, shocker. So what we have, you'll notice in the centre of the board, this is a Void Shield Generator. So there are various ways of gaining victory points in this game. One of them is if at the start of one of your turns, you're in control with a troop choice of the Void Shield Generator, you gain 2 VPs. So that's in there to try and force people to the centre with their troop choices. But it's also a Void Shield Generator, so it's giving out 3 Void Shields around it, which we thought might help protect from some of the super heavy weapons and such. We've ruled that the Void Shields get to regenerate every player turn, so they'll be in effect quite a lot. We've also given it the massive structure rule, so it's AV15 and has -1 to its armor penetration roll, so it's pretty survivable, so hopefully that will play a key part in the battle. Other ways to gain victory points. Obviously in the escalation rules you gain 3 victory points for every 3 hull points you do to an enemy super heavy. So the Gargant over there, or the Stomp, has 12 hull points. This one has 9, but it has a way of regenerating them, which gives us a bit of a rules conundrum about do you gain them from the regenerated ones? We think they probably do, so he can give out loads if he regenerates a lot.
I think Si might argue that though.
yeah, you know, we'll see how close it is at the end. And the Greater Bloodthirster has 8 wounds. He's from the Forge World. What's he from? Imperial Armour Apocalypse, isn't he?
Yes.
If any of you want the rules, basically he's a super hard killing machine in close combat, and he's a flying gargantuan creature if you don't know the rules.
And a very nice model.
And a very nice, he's my favourite model, that's why I bought him. So, other ways to gain victory points in the game. As per our standard free-player rules, you gain victory points for killing enemy units. You gain the victory points for if the unit is dead at the end of the game and you have done the majority of wounds or hull points to it. So, take a battle wagon over there. If I do 3 hull points to it and Sai does 1 hull point to it, thus destroying it, I gain the VP because I have done the most damage to it. It kind of works as a balancing mechanic, because if I've done 3 hull points to it, it's unlikely that Sai will then pick on the battle wagon to kill it. So the player that's doing worst, who's taken the damage, generally doesn't get picked on by the other 2 players. So it really helps in a free play game to stop it kind of like going 2 against 1 at most times. Other ways to gain VPs. Each of us has an objective in our deployment zone. So my deployment zone is this little peg. The way we do deployment zones is we each place a little peg on the board, and it has to be, I think, 42 inches away from another peg, and our deployment zone is 12 inches around that peg. We get to start with as many models as we like on the board, but we can keep some off in, not reserve as such, but off in kind of like a limbo place where they come in on turn 1, similar to the old Dawn of War rules from 5th edition. You have to start with at least 1 troop choice and your massive monster on the table in these games. So that's my deployment peg there. My deployment zone is the 12 inches around there. And hiding back here, somewhere in that mass of pink horrors that are hiding, you can hopefully see a little objective. Nick's objective is over there,
behind
his Stomper. And Sai, where's yours? I'm imagining inside this building. Sai's is that nice one there inside the building. So each of those is worth 3 victory points as normal. Another quick thing we put for victory point wise is if an enemy gargantuan creature or massive vehicle ends your turn in your deployment zone. So basically if one of those managed to get over here within 12 inches of my peg and I haven't managed to get it out in my turn, I lose 2 victory points. So basically the Lords of War can invade each other's deployment zones to deny that person VPs. It's another way of kind of like balancing. If one player is doing really well, the other 2 can make sure their Lords of War get over there and reduce his victory point total. So just to go through that one quick time, you can gain VPs for controlling this at the start of your turn. You lose VPs if the enemy has a gargantuan creature or other Lord of War inside your deployment zone. You have the VPs for the objectives as normal, VPs for kill points, VPs for killing. God, this is going on, isn't it? VPs for killing the giant things, and then you get killing Warlord, you can gain them, and you also get one at the end of the game for Linebreaker. We're not playing any First Blood.
Have you ever thought of playing a game with less rules?
Oh dear, I love making up rules. We'll see if we can remember all of that at the end. We'll probably just go, well, you killed this, you win. Okay, any other rules that we need to go through? Ah, yes, our special we've kind of like, well, I spend a lot of time on the internet reading stuff, and we've implemented a few rules to stop the Lords of War being a bit silly in games. The first one is destroyer weapons. We've toned down a lot. I've watched a lot of battle reports online that player goes first, fires his D weapon, kills opponent's Lord of War, game is over after 2 die rolls. Doesn't seem much fun. So let's see if I can remember what we're using. So for our D weapons, we've ruled that they always count as strength 11. They keep the AP that the weapon comes with on the chart, and obviously the range and any special rules it has other than destroyer weapon rule. If you roll a 6 to wound or to armor penetrate, then the target gets no invulnerable saves and gets no feel, no pain, nothing like that. So if you roll a 6, it's still uber deadly, but other than that, it just ignores cover, but you get to take your invulnerable saves versus it, and it always does 2 wounds or 2 rolls on the damage chart. So if you penetrate a vehicle with your D weapon, it fails all its saves, you then roll twice on the damage chart instead of once. So they're still really deadly, and they're more deadly than any other weapon in the game, but they don't just remove models whole from the table. Things like, if you've got a Storm Shield Terminator, he should be more survivable than a Gretchen, and against D weapons they're not. And we just thought it'd be more fun if D weapons weren't stupidly killy. So they're the rules we're using for those, and other than that, we've implemented that Lords of War don't get affected by psychic powers other than those with strength. That's very similar to the Apocalypse rules in 5th edition, and it seems like a good choice, as you can buy an Inquisitor for like 50 points and twin link an entire Lord of War, which just seems a bit stupid. Twin linking Titans and stuff just doesn't work, and also puppet mastering Titans, again, we don't think it will be particularly fun, so we've ruled all that out. We've also ruled out various other things like power field generators don't affect Lords of War. You can't sit them on Sky Shield landing pads. Basically getting rid of all the cheesy stuff that really shouldn't work. So they're the rules we're using. Let's see how the game goes. Nick has got first turn. He got, no, you're going, yeah, you are going first, aren't you, Nick? Nick is going first. The way we do it is you get to choose deployment zones and then you go in the reverse order. So Si got to choose his deployment zone first. So he has this nice big skyscraper that's nicely protecting his Lord of War, but he gets last turn. But obviously being an objective game, that's not so bad. I went second, so I took this nice line of sight blocking bit over here that I've hidden Fate Weaver behind. And then Nick was shoved out in the cold because of the way the deployment zones work, that you have to set up away from the other people's pegs, because Si had his there and I had mine over there. Nick was kind of shoved in that corner over there, but he has a custom force field mech, so he doesn't really care. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so this is the 2,000 points of Escalation army I have brought with me today. At the back there, you can see Fate Weaver. I don't often take him in this edition, just due to I think he's a little bit of a crutch for the Demon army, but I felt I really didn't want the Demon chart screwing up my giant Bloodthirster there. So this is Angrath. He is my Lord of War choice. He's a Forge World unit. He's basically, if you haven't read his stats, he's got ridiculous stats. He's 8 toughness, 8 wounds. He's got a 2-up save, a 3-up invulnerable save. He's got an axe that can cause instant death in combat. He's got a ridiculous number of attacks. He's nearly immune to psychic powers. All kinds of gubbins. He is a monster in close combat, but that's all he is. Whereas the other 2 people, as you'll see in a moment, they have their super heavies, which have massive guns on, so they're more able to reach out and get some points back than he is, but I'm hoping once he gets to combat he'll be able to prove his worth. So then, rest of the Demon Codex, because I knew I was going to be fighting against super heavies in an escalation battle, I thought I'd better take stuff that can actually hurt some vehicles. So these can barely hurt a vehicle, but they are reasonably good at killing most things. So I have a unit of 20 Demonettes. They have a Demonette Herald in there who has got the Portaglyph today. She is also on a steed. I have this giant Ragnarok spider. Okay, I had arrived at Nick's house and I found out I'd forgotten my Soul Grinder. And it's a Soul Grinder of Nurgle with the Phlegm power. And this looks a reasonable approximation. So that'll do quite well for today's game. I also have a unit of 11 pink horrors. They're led by an iridescent horror. And then the best thing I could find in the Demon Codex for actually hurting vehicles, other than monstrous creatures, is probably the Screamers. So I took 6 Screamers, and I have a Herald at the front there. Only a level 1 Psyker, but it does have the Book of True Names, the Grimoire. But I chose not to take the 4+ Invulnerable power, because I think it's a little bit cheesy. So he's got Prescience. Now, Fate Weaver's powers, while I remember, he didn't roll particularly well. So he gets all of Tzeentch's powers, and I have taken Prescience. I've also got Life Leech and Flame Breath, and unfortunately Mental Fortitude. So not the best selection. I could have swapped Mental Fortitude for Psychic Screech, but I've already got 6 range attacks, and I can only use 2 a turn, so didn't seem worth it. Let's see what the others have brought in their evil tiny armies.
Right, in the Chaos Marine army today, well, they're being led by a Demon Prince of Slaanesh, who's got wings, power armor, and the Black Mace. Um,
Don't know about
what's
that.
wrong with the Black Mace?
Piss off.
We've got 2 squads of Marines. Both champions have a chain axe with them, and one's got a melter gun, the other's got a flamer. We've got some noise Marines, only a small group this time. Unfortunately, points being a bit limited in this game. But there is a blast master in there, and the champion has a chain axe. We've got a couple of obliterators, a forge fiend, a helldrake. Unfortunately, missing one of its wings. It fell off in transportation, but never mind.
Powers of the Warp didn't like him.
And of course, the Lord of Skulls. He's just got the basic setup. I couldn't afford any upgrades. But it's the first time out for him, so we'll see how he goes.
And for the Orc side of the army, which actually looks quite ginormous compared to the others, we are led by Gazzy. Yes, it was points were limited, but I still took Gazzy. They've got 5 mega knobs inside a battle wagon with a death roller and a cannon.
Oh, only 5 mega knobs. Sorry, I
Yeah.
brought you one too many.
Oh, I'll take an extra one. I did send a text message that said 5. I can show people to prove it. We've got a second battle wagon with a death roller and a cannon. That's got 20 Orc boys with a knob, power claw, boss pole, heavy armour. Those Orc boys are slugger and choppers, as they are represented. Inside there, we have a unit of 12 Orc boys. These are shooter boys. And there's a knob in there with power claw, boss pole, heavy armour. We have got 4 looters with a mech. And we've also got a big mech with a custom force field. All of that lot will be hiding inside a stomper. Mostly because the custom force field giving it an invulnerable save and the mech possibly repairing hull points.
I must say, Nick, you've finished painting your stomper. Nicely done.
It's not quite.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, the Gatling gun's gone. And the other part of my army is we've got a Dakar jet as well, which has got the extra gun as well. That was it. As I say, it's bigger than the others, but still quite a small army. So let's see how we go.
Okay, so this is the end of turn 1. We're doing it slightly different today because it's obviously a bit of a bigger game. We're going to do one video at the end of all 3 of our turns where we all kind of like chat about it, see how that goes. So Nick went first. What was your plan on your turn, Nick, and how did it go?
Plan went well.
That's Nick.
There wasn't much of a plan, but it went well. It was battle wagon full of orcs into the centre, disgorged its orcs.
So you can see
So-
Nick's got his orcs around the void shield generator.
Yeah, and use the void shield for cover. And Stomper to follow up with them into there is it's in the centre. It can go where it wants to,
Yeah.
basically. And the other battle wagon, which is my other unit, went off towards the
Giving
Lord
away
of
what
Skulls.
happens in future turns here, but you
Yeah.
can't see a battle. But pretend there's a battle wagon where that crater is.
The battle wagon went off towards the Chaos Marines. We killed 1 Marine during shooting.
So one of these
Actually,
Marines down here.
1 Marine. That was basically my turn. It was just moving. I shot everything. Angraf only
You
made...
fired a lot at Angraf,
Yes, but he had to... He made all the saves and he had to make 1 feel no pain save.
you did. I swapped my special corn dice and made my 5 up, so that was quite
Yeah.
useful.
Which one wasn't useful at all, really. But that was it, really, for my turn.
So not overly eventful, but
No.
none of our turns were particularly. Night
No.
fight in the free player rules, night fighting is always in effect turn 1, so that gives us a bit better cover saves. So on my turn, what did I do? Angraf decided that he didn't want to. I could have charged the Stomper, but I decided I didn't want to because if Nick and I get into
He was cowardly.
well, no, I think I might have won. I think mine's the best in close combat here. But if I'd have charged you and we would have beaten the crap out of each other, then Sai would have just ruled the game with his one over there. So I decided that I've gone into fly mode with my Bloodthirster, and I did a Vector Strike on the Stomper, which strength 10 Vector Strike, so not to be sneezed at. So I've done 1 hull point to the Stomper. The rest of the stuff moved on. Fate Weaver's gone into fly mode as well. He's gone over behind that building there. My Demonettes came on the board, which are there. And my Demonette there on the steed, who had the Portaglyph, has thrown out the Portaglyph, and it spawned 6 Plague Bearers, which is quite nice. Behind here, my Pink Horrors have kind of like scaled the building, so one of them can fire. And my Soul Grinder has come on the board over here. He tried a lucky shot over at the Marines over here, but didn't kill any of them because I scattered off the board. And now we get to the slightly cheesiness. I rolled for... Oh, sorry, my my Screamers have come on over there with the Herald in amongst them. Now, we rolled on the Warp Storm table as you do, and I rolled a 6 and a 1, but then I used Fate Weaver's reroll to re-roll the 1 and got a 10. At this point, Si and I rejoiced because he's got loads of demons in his army, and obviously my entire army is demon, and the 10 result gives me +1 invulnerable save. So even though I didn't want to, I've ended up with a 2-up re-rollable save on my Screamers.
Didn't want to. Who re-rolled the dice?
Yeah. So we've decided, because 2-up re-rollable saves are not fun for anybody, so we've decided to implement one of the rules that a lot of people around the internet are talking about, that if you have a 2-up re-rollable, if you roll a 1 on your first dice, you then only get a 4-up on your re-roll. So it makes it a 1 in 12 chance of taking a wound, which is still incredibly good, but it's much more likely to happen than a 1 in 36. So we'll be using that rule, and I think we'll probably use that for all our games in the future, just in case it accidentally comes up. We also decided on the fly that Gargantuan monstrous creatures and super heavy vehicles don't benefit from the bonus, because he would gain a 2-up invulnerable save, and that seems a bit stupid. So that's another rule invented on the fly. It's our first game of Escalation, so you'll see us inventing many rules as we come across things that seem a bit unfun. So my shooting did a grand total of very little. I did one hull point with Fate Weaver to that, and that was my turn done as well. So, Si, what happened on your turn? Let's see. Si's turn was a bit more uneventful. A bit more eventful.
Everything came on. Obliterators, Forge Fiends, Marines, all shot at the Screamers. Did diddly squat.
So at this point we decided 2-up re-runnables are not fun.
The Blastmaster with the Noise Marines managed to shoot.
Oh yes, he was quite good, wasn't he?
He was very effective. Shot at the Orcs in the middle, took out all 3 Void Shields, but failed to kill the Orc.
Just a note for people on the Void Shield. The Void Shields give anything within 12 inches, wholly within 12 inches. Basically, there's a shield in the way which has armor value 12, which you have to knock down to wound anything inside it. But the way it works is you do your hits in order. So Si fired at the Orcs, and he got 4 hits because they're quite clumped in. So he rolled his first 3 hits, have to go against the AV-12 instead of the model, and they all knocked down the shields, and then the last one obviously didn't kill an Orc somehow. But at the end of the turn, we rolled, and Si rolled, and 3 Void Shields got regenerated. So it's as if nothing happened.
The Orcs are rejoicing again.
Yeah.
And then finally, my Lord of Skulls shot at a battle wagon and failed to kill it, so I had to charge in. And
That's it. The armor 14 was quite deadly to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, could have. Well, with his Gatling gun, could have taken it out, but just rolled really badly.
Yeah, you couldn't get the dice, could you?
But Gazgul has taken a wound now.
Yep.
With the exploding battle wagon.
And yeah, even with our neutered destroyer weapon rules, it went for a battle wagon like paper, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think it would have blown it up 4 times or something. Okay, so that is the end of our complete turn 1. Let's see what happens on our turn 2s. So this is our turn 2. So Nick obviously was going first on this round again. So Nick, what happened on your turn? See if you can remember back. Again, we're doing all our turns together.
Sorry for the noise in the background. That's the little one. She wants to come in and help play. Right, my turn. My turn wasn't actually particularly fantastic, I have to say.
I think you made a bit of a mistake in your turn.
I charged the Lord of Skulls with Gazzy's unit.
So they all charged in over there. The problem with doing the 3 at once is we kind of foreshadow what's going to happen.
I was going to say don't pan the camera over there.
Well,
but
I could edit this out, but let's face it, I'm not going to.
No, and it went badly on my turn. Let's just say that bit.
Yeah, on your turn, if I remember correctly,
I did 2 whole points to him, and he killed.
He killed a Meganob and his D weapon because we explained the D weapon rules. He had his 2-up invulnerable because he killed his wild, but he still took 2 wounds from the D weapon, which was quite bad. So Nick was not feeling particularly confident after that.
And Gazzy is down to 1 wound.
Yeah, he's on 1 wound at this point. So what happened over there, Nick?
The Death Roller battle wagon, because there's no troops in it, has just come back out here, pointing towards some plague bearers and that, which are
over there.
My Dakka jets obviously come on.
Yeah, Dacky.
And we basically came on and we shot a lot of the demonettes, and we whittled them down by quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think you've killed probably half of those now, or more than half, maybe. You fired a lot of your Stomper at that, didn't you?
Yeah, I fired a lot of the Stomper at them. The Stomper and all boys, everything around there, fired at the...
Angrath.
Yeah.
And you managed to get him down. I
got him down on the ground with the last set of shots.
I passed the first 2, then I failed my 3rd grounding check, and I Fate Weaver re-rolled it, and I failed it again, which was annoying.
This is the mistake I made. I charged in at him.
Yeah, Angrath is pretty monstrous in close combat. The Stomper's good, but Angrath is, as we have seen. We were unsure to start. I thought I was better, but I didn't think I was.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure because the Stomper's never gone into close combat.
I think
and
the main
I know
difference.
his shooting is better.
Yeah.
The Gatling guns run out of ammo as well, so I rolled a double on that straight away.
I think the main difference is that my weapon skill 10 means you hit me on 5, so you're just not hitting me with your D weapon.
No. Obviously my Stomper lost about 7 hull points.
I think,
in that
7 hull points down in your turn, and you did no wounds back to me, which was the thing.
Yeah, and then it went on to, obviously, your round of combat with this one.
Yeah, so
it's down to, it's lost 11 hull points now, and so it's got 1 left, and I still did no wounds back to you.
Yes, 1 hull point left. My Bloodthirster was really going.
That gives me enough, because I'm going next, that I can get everything out. I can get out, which is good.
So, on my turn, first things first, my Portaglyph spawned a single Demonette.
She's hiding in that building.
Hiding in that building. My Demonettes, because they can't hurt, the only thing on the board they can't hurt is the Stomper, and that was the only thing close by. So they swung round, and Sai had moved his Demon Prince up into this building. It was a very long distance charge, which I failed over there. My Pink Horrors in there were trying to shoot the Demon Prince. Yeah, I couldn't even charge it because it wasn't even on the ground.
Yeah.
You remember these things after. My Pink Horrors tried to shoot the Demon Prince, but he made his blooming 6+ deny the Witch. My Soul Grinder, or Giant Spider, depending on how you look at it, fired over here and was trying to kill some of the Obliterators and Marines. I managed to kill 1 because of their cover saves. Over here, my Screamers charged in and engaged the Forge Fiend. The combat will go on to Sai's turn, in which I killed the Forge Fiend, but you can see that Sai has engaged me with a load of other stuff in that spare time. Anything else on the board? Fate Weaver. Fate Weaver jumped to the middle of the board, and because you get the 2 score VPs at the start of your turn, if you control the centre bit, Nick's the only person that's gone there, and he's winning at this point because he's about to start his next turn, and he's still got Orks there. Fate Weaver moved in, and I think I fired 16 fiery shots at them with the Primaris power from Tazich, and I really hoped I'd kill a lot, and I did kill a lot, but he made his leadership check. And then Sai, I think, is going to fire at him in his turn as well. So that's all Fate Weaver did that turn, but his re-rolls have been pretty special. So, Sai, on to your turn. What did you get up to?
Well, lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah, do you want to start with the bad thing over there?
No.
We'll leave that to the end.
Well, the Noise Marines shot into the middle again.
You got through the Void Shields?
No, I only got through 1 Void Shield with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Obliterators fired plasma guns.
Plasma cannons, yeah.
Got rid of the last 2 Void Shields, killed quite a few Orks. Then my Marines here just followed up, got rid of, I think, another 1 or 2. Yeah,
you put them on a leadership check, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Nick used his boss pole to pass his leadership check on second attempt, so he's still there. Si and I both realised at this point that we had to get him off.
My Demon Prince came back over, and my Marines charged in to support the Forge Fiend. The combat didn't go very well. The Forge Fiend died.
Yep.
And we're at a stalemate now.
Yeah, you rolled appallingly with your Space Marines. I think you got
terrible.
2 wounds with all of them.
Yeah.
And the Demon Prince, I think I just passed all my vulnerables versus him.
Yeah.
I got my Grimoire up again this turn.
I mean, the
obviously.
Demon Prince would have been handy just to get some on because of the Black Mace.
That's it. I just need to fail 1, and then you'd hurt the rest of my unit. But unfortunately, I passed all.
Should we go to the best
Fortunately for me.
turn?
Yeah. So what happened over here? Take it through us from your point of view.
Well, my Lord of Skulls kind of slapped and killed another Mega Knob.
You had 6 attacks, didn't you?
Yeah, because of the extra ones for losing a couple of hull points. But that was it. The attack back, the Mega Knobs did nothing. Oh no, the Mega Knobs did 1 more hull point. But Gazgul just tore me apart.
I think you got 4 penetrating hits on you.
I think the word is crumped.
Yeah, I think crump is probably a good description.
On the plus side,
yeah.
The explosion killed all the Mega Knobs and got Gazgul down.
We remember that this happens afterwards.
Gazgul's down to 1 wound now.
Yes, the scatter put a D template straight on top of Nick's entire unit. So Gazzy still had his 2-up invulnerable save, and obviously we're playing where you get invulnerable saves versus D weapons.
Which, if the scatter had been good, that could have been even better for me by scattering over and just wiping out most of that board. If that could have been.
That is it. So let's see what happens on turn 3. I'm thinking your Stomper's going to bite it, Nick, but you're streaking ahead on victory points with killing the big thing.
Victory points so far.
Yeah, give us a scores on the doors.
Do you want me to include the Void Shield for my turn?
And no, not yet, because you haven't got them yet.
I'll start after then. Okay, scores on the doors. I'm on 6 VP. Curly, you're next on 3 VP. And Si's on 2 VP.
Okay, so Si and I are close. Unfortunately, Nick is streaking ahead, which isn't good for us. Let's see what happens next turn. Okay, so we're on to turn 3. Nick, what happened? There is unfortunately a very large crater there where there was once a Stomper.
Well, we knew the Stomper was dead anyway, because it had 1
Yep.
point there. Obviously, the Stomper went, it blew up, but didn't actually kill...
No, it was nowhere near as deadly. The scatter
No.
was quite kind to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it rolled a hit, so it was on him, and everything was in the outer ring.
Yeah,
so...
and you'd run all your models that were inside it. You had 3 units inside.
Yeah, I got everything out, ran everything, and got stuff into cover what I could. Obviously, Fate Weaver stayed in the air, because I tried shooting him to bring him down.
Your main plan was take him down and then hopefully get him hit by a D weapon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You did him 2 wounds though with your looters.
Oh yeah,
firing,
yeah,
so that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, he didn't come down, which was a pain.
It was his reroll, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
I must admit that I feel quite bad using Fate Weaver because every time I fail a really critical roll, I have to sheepishly say, "Oh, Fate Weaver reroll."
Gazzy obviously tried running in, tried assaulting the Noise Marines, but failed by an inch.
He did.
I was tempted to join the big combat, but obviously that was going to go Simon's way. So I thought, if I go to the Noise Marines, I can possibly try and stop, protect Simon's of.
Yes, Noise Marines are hiding up here in this building, firing out.
I mean, like this. Oh, the Death Roller ran in and killed 5 of the 6.
Killed 5. I was lucky to keep the 1 alive, really.
Yeah, well, I got six hits with on a D6, and you obviously made the one save.
Yeah.
So no, that was useful.
Dakkajet. The Stomper's not really there; it's just resting.
Yeah, Dakkajet flew over, shot some more Demonettes.
Yeah, my Demonettes are slowly trying to get to centre table, but
it's the only thing that I could really shoot at was the Demonettes. And it's now obviously from your turn.
Right, so in my turn, my pink horrors down here, they decided to fire up at the Dakkajet, but didn't do anything. So the Soul Grinder took 3 shots with his anti-air gun and managed to get 2 pens on it, but I didn't roll particularly well. Nick didn't jink. Oh, he did jink, but he didn't manage to save any. So it's taken 2 whole points off, and it can't shoot, and it's got to go off the board next turn. So that's fine. Over here, well, I used my Grimoire. And I rolled a 2, and they cheered, and then I said, Fate Weaver reroll. And then I rolled a 1, which was bad. So my 3-up rerolling 1 save on my unit went to a 6-up invulnerable save, and Sai utterly beasted me in combat. His Demon Prince just cut through most of the unit, and
you killed a couple of Marines.
I did kill 2 Marines, that's true.
You lost your Herald in a challenge.
Yeah, so I lost that whole combat, so I got a couple more VPs there. Angrath, fresh after his victory against the Stomper, in which he didn't take a single wound. I think Nick only hit me once. It was just appalling on Nick's half. He then decided to go for something a little less challenging than a Stomper, and he happily squished the Orks that were gaining Nick VPs from the central objective. Unfortunately, Sai and I have nothing particularly close by to be able to get us some VPs from it.
No,
I'm hoping my Demonettes can get there.
So...
But they're so flimsy, I think you'll just shoot them off when I get there. What else happened on my turn? Fate Weaver moved over there. He flamed backwards. There was a unit of looters which had exited the back of the Stomper, and he took out 3 of those, and then the other one ran off the board. And he attempted... Oh no, he fired Life Leech into the other unit of Orks, did 2 wounds, and got back both the wounds he had lost the previous turn. Life Leech seems a really awesome power for him. Demonettes tried to move up the board a bit, but they rolled really badly for move through terrain. And that was about it for my turn. What about your turn, Si?
Well, my Helldrake turned up.
It did.
He
Helldrake over there.
Victor strike Angrath and cause a wound.
He has defiled the flesh of my greater bloodthirster. He has taken a wound. I couldn't believe it.
And then flamed.
Couldn't kill a Demonette.
Couldn't kill the old Demonette, but killed 4 Orks though.
Yep, you were going for the 1 Demonette for a VP because he came out the Portaglyph as 1.
Yep.
But yeah, roasted a load of Orks. So me and you are vying for control of who's killed the most models in that Ork unit.
The Noise Marines and the odd Marine down here shot at the Demonettes, killed a couple.
Yeah. Put them. I think the useful thing is you killed obviously the ones at the front, so that stopped them being close enough, I think, to gain control of that.
The Obliterators tried to las cannon the your big spidery thing at the end.
My big Soul Grinder.
Didn't do anything. My Marines, fresh after the combat, have come here to secure my
Yeah, you're scoring up
Scoring
there,
me.
your objective there. The Marines are just below, a bit dark, but we can just about see them.
And my Demon Prince decided to munch on a Gazgul.
He utterly butchered Gazgul,
Yeah.
in fact.
Well, the only way Gazzy would have survived that is by the Demon Prince rolling a 1, because
or the
you
demon
end up
weapon.
with a 5 up in fun save because he's in fun save when. So it was a.
So that was a couple of extra VP.
So,
from...
what are the scores on the doors at this point, Nick? Or Si?
I am on 8 VP.
8 VP for Nick, but
Uh,
you're looking a little thin on the ground
I have
now.
4 boys in a battle wagon left. 'cause
Yes.
obviously so you're on 8 VP.
Oh, good. And I am the only one with a super heavy dude left.
Yeah, and size.
I'm on 6.
So I was on 6, so still reasonably close at this point, but I think this bad boy is giving me the advantage at this stage. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's end of turn 4. So, Nick, want to walk us through your turn? I can't see many of your models left on the board at this stage,
Right,
though.
my turn was battle wagon went in and killed the last plague bearer.
It did, gained
and
you another victory point.
I shot the other demonette, the single demonette, which I failed to kill.
Gave you
So-
another victory
So
point.
that was 2 victory points there. That was that was my turn.
Very quick turn, Nick. So,
The only thing actually I've realised what I could have done actually is I could have broken the big mech off and gone into
oh,
combat.
you could have for
I
extra...
forgot about the 3
Yeah.
demonettes behind, and I could have gone into them.
Yes, that's true. So you
The
could have
extra
gained
one.
an extra VP there,
Yeah.
although I charged you anyway and you killed most of them.
Yeah. Well, with
So-
one model.
On my turn, Fate Weaver decided it was time to enter the fray. I rolled a 10 on the demon table, so everyone got +1 in vulnerable save, which was quite nice. Fate Weaver was on the ground, and he decided to flamer the orcs. He killed 2 of them, and he shot the battle wagon, but failed to hurt it. He then charged into the mob of orcs over there, and also the 3 demonettes I'd spawned the previous turn charged in, and we won combat by 2. The demonettes managed to kill a couple of orcs, and orcs killed a couple of them, and Fate Weaver challenged and smashed the orc knob, which is quite nice because his power claw would have been quite deadly.
One thing we forgot with Fate Weaver, which you didn't mention earlier, he failed his he could Perils of the War, but then you used Fate Weaver reroll.
He did. Fate Weaver reroll for the win.
Yeah, I can't throw in that cheese.
Over here, the poor pink horrors, they're scoring my objective. Let's see if we can actually see the pink horrors. They're back there. They're quite pink. They're scoring my objective, but they've done very little this game, as there's not really been much to shoot this area of the board. So they just sat there doing nothing. The Soul Grinder / Spider moved up to the side and opened fire with its big blast and its 3 autocannon shots. I managed to kill the last remaining Space Marine in this squad, which gave me a slight tipping point of who got the victory point over Nick, so I gained a VP from him. Angraf decided that he was through pissing around in the centre, and he charged Size Demon Prince. Now, you'd think that a model of difference would mean I would auto-win, but actually no. Size Demon Prince is armed with a black mace, which gives him 2 up to wound. He's also a Demon of Slaanesh, which means he re-rolls to hit rolls that fail. And he's also got AP2 because of his smash rule. So if Si had rolled a 6 on his attacks with his demon weapon, he could have dealt me a fair amount of damage. Si, what did you roll on that?
Well, less than 6.
Was it a 1, Si?
Perhaps.
So Si's demon weapon betrayed him and made him weapon skill 1. It was obviously scared, but Si still managed to do 2 wounds to Angraf, which was quite a good result with the bad rolling on the demon
I've done
weapon.
3 wounds on him in total.
Yeah.
And that's the only wounds he's
VP,
taken.
Si.
Yeah, and I gained a VP from it. So
That's it, from doing damage to him. I then attacked back, and obviously I got strength 10, and I rolled really well on my own extra d6 attacks when I charge, because he's massive, and I hit him, I think, 10 times of strength 10 attacks, so obviously wiped out his Demon Prince and his Warlord, which was quite nice. What else did I do on my turn? The Demonettes attempted to get to the centre, but didn't quite manage it. Si, what did you do on your turn?
well, my Helldrake flew over the last battle wagon and wiped it out.
Yeah, that's it, another VP for you.
It did explode, but didn't kill any orcs or
I was hoping
demon
that
heads
the
or
demon
anything
head would
else.
be
Yeah, you were. Yeah, if it had killed my Demonette over there, Nick would have gained another VP.
And it would have meant me inside drawing.
Aha.
The Noise Marines shot over at
Noise
the
Marines up here.
combat with Fate Weaver and the Orcs and Demonettes.
Yes,
Almost killed the Orc, but didn't quite manage it.
Yes,
so-
we play. You can shoot into close combats that don't involve you. So Si shot over there and it hit all 3 of our units, but then we randomise hits, and Si put all the random hits on the Orc. But then you
There's 2 on the Orc, one on one of the.
on the Demon,
well,
we
ended
made
up
a
on the
save.
demon,
Yeah,
yeah. But it
failed to kill the Orc. 2 1s.
My last Marines basically just moved up to get my objective.
Yep, on your objective.
And the Obliterators tried to shoot at the Spider, but
I made my vulnerable save, didn't I?
yeah, failed. But other than that, Well, there's not exactly a lot left on the
No,
board.
we are calling the game at that point, partly because we've got to do stuff, and partly because I've still got Angrath left, and the guys have lost their super heavies, and I've still got Fate Weaver as well.
I've got Big Mech left, but he's in
Yeah,
combat with
Fate Weaver's going to challenge and smash the Big Mech likely, and that just means Angrath gets to eat size units. So we're pretty certain, unless it was unbelievably bad rolling, I would win with Angrath at this point. So what are the scores on the doors at the end of turn 4?
Well, Nick has 10 victory points.
Yep.
I have 11.
Ooh.
And Demons are winning with 14.
So pretty close in the end there,
Yeah.
especially as you were quite unlucky failing a couple of your kills there. You could have got up to 13 VP quite easily. So that was pretty close. So what do we think of our first game of Escalation? Obviously we're not using the standard rules, but
yeah, definitely need more points.
yeah, I think that as well, because I made up my army. He cost 888 points as the size giant thing there. What does yours cost, Nick?
770.
770. So
you
after
can buy
that,
an extra couple of rockets to make it 810.
yeah. But basically, we're looking at spending nearly 1,000 points on those. So I think slightly bigger. I think 2,500 would have been a more comfortable limit because we were all quite short on troop choices, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I only ended up with 3 because I put what I wanted in the army. I had some points left over, and for 100 and something, about 120 points, there wasn't much to buy in the Ork army, which I bought an extra 12 Ork boys and just stuck them in the Stomper.
Yeah.
Not sure what I was going to do with them. I just had them in there, and
yeah, it's an extra troop choice.
they were hoping to get out, score an objective or something.
I was quite lucky that my portaglyph kept on spawning them because I only brought 2, and one of them was quite minimal as well.
Well, I had 2 Chaos Marine units, and taking the Demon Prince, I couldn't make any of the elite choices. Troop choices.
And your Space Marines are reasonably bare bones anyway, weren't they? Just bolt guns and such.
Yeah.
So what do everyone think of their super heavies, Nick? The poor Stomper.
Stomper has a bad rolling, but Stomper's the same. Trying him out in close combat now, which I didn't mind.
I think you get better joy if you're not fighting him.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean the close combat isn't too bad. I mean, I made a mistake charging him, but it depended at the time because I charged both of them. If I had destroyed Sai, you may have then decided, hang on a minute, I'll charge into you and got.
And you made a good point that you had run out of bullets in your Super Daka Gatla thing.
Yeah,
which made his shooting quite a bit worse.
Yeah, it made him basically have the big gun and just some big shooters.
And we didn't know what would happen in the combat because if you rolled a couple of 6s to wound, you rip through Angrath's wounds and then he fails his instability and he just dies. So.
Well, yeah, I mean basically what happened to the Lord of Skulls.
Yeah.
With Ghazi.
So Sai, what did you think of your Lord of Skulls while on the topic? He's down there.
I do like him. I would prefer to have the Skull Hurler with him.
Yes, you were quite short on points, weren't you, to upgrade him?
It's an extra 60 points, but it's a blast, Apocalyptic Blast, Strength 9, AP 3. It's any successful saving throws you have to re-roll. So I think that would be better than the Haze.
I think one of the things that affected both, well, it didn't affect the Stomper, but affected certainly the Lord of Skulls, and I was fearful of it affecting me, was that these big units can get locked in combat by anything. Like, ideally, if you're a vehicle, you could just wander away, but because they're both walkers and he's a monstrous creature, there's no rule anymore to say they can't be locked in combat. That might be something we want to, as we've already put in various rules to alter Escalation, that might be something we want to put into the game, because I feel that the Lord of Skulls should not be locked into combat anyway. He just rolls out the way, doesn't it? If you can't lock a Land Raider, you can't lock a Lord of Skulls, and let's face it.
If the Lord of Skulls had been fighting the Stomper, then you can understand it being locked in combat.
Yeah, exactly. They should. That's what the old rules did, but they appear to just have slightly forgotten some of these rules. So we'll discuss that later, but I think that's something we should probably put in, because it makes them. We put in a few restrictive rules for them. Things like we ruled that he couldn't get his invulnerable save improved and such. So it might be better to put in some rules that help them out. And I think that you've been able to walk away from normal combats would be quite good. Speaking for Angrath, my first time I've properly used him, I've had him kind of representing stuff on the board before, but yeah, he was just a beast. Loads of strength 10 attacks. He's just utterly beastly. Weapon skill 10. Incredibly hard to wound, but he does cost 1,000 points and he doesn't really have a range weapon, so the chances of him ever getting his VPs back are pretty minimal unless he manages to beat up things like Stompers in close combat. But he'd taken 3 wounds at the end there.
Overall,
next time I'll take 2 of those Demon Princes.
Yeah, the Black Mace really is quite deadly on him. But that is our first experience with Escalation. we shall do some more battle reports of these, as certainly, well, Si and I have got quite a few escalation units to be using.
Yeah, what you do. There's not really much for my armies, actually, because there's not really much for Tau.
You don't want to buy a Tau Manta, Nick?
I do want to buy a Tau Manta. Unfortunately, deploying it may not be able to get on the deployment.
No, possibly not. We could use it to fight our battles on.
Yeah. But you say with Tau, there's not really much to pick up for the Tau at the moment.
No, all their flyers, all the stuff's super heavy flyers, which aren't really as interesting because I have to start the game off the board, which I find a bit crap.
Yeah, and I've only bought an allied sort of detachment of Space Marines, and it is an allied detachment. Guys.
What do you mean? You mean like 3,000 points, right?
No.
That's how big an allied detachment is.
Next time I'll have to use Necrons and see whether I will bring a Tesseract Vault or a Gauze Cannon.
Yeah, the Gauze pylon type thing.
Yeah,
yeah, I think next time I may well have brought something to represent a Warhound Titan by then, so you never know. Anyway.
Some people feel a little underpowered then.
Well, thank you everyone for watching our videos during the year, and Merry Christmas from us.
And Happy Gorkmas.
Gorkmas again.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy your new year.